So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of our season 4 here on the channel on our F1 Manager 23 season. Now if you didn't watch the last episode, my word, go back and watch it because we had one hell of a day in Australia. Lando Norris in P1, Pierre Gasly in P3. Max Verstappen was the car splitting the two Andretti Cadillacs on the day, meaning going into this weekend, which is Azerbaijan of course, we are top of the constructors on race wins. We've won 2 races, Red Bull's only won 1. They are really slacking a little bit. Driver standings wise, Lando Norris is top of the driver's standings. Max Verstappen in P2, George Russell P3, Pierre Gasly in P4. We are still developing the car, of course. At this moment in time, we've just done a little bit just to bring you up to the date on the analysis. We are currently 5th on the grid now for top speed. Medium and high speed still very, very good indeed. And we've got some more upgrades coming through as well. So it's a very, very exciting time here at Andretti Cadillac. And of course, we go to Baku this weekend, 51 laps around Azerbaijan. I love this Grand Prix in real life. It is a sprint weekend, of course, so of course, more content for you. We may get some rain, I highly doubt it, but historic safety car chances 80%. We've seen safety cars around here before. The expected strategy is a one-stop from medium onto hards, or you can go soft onto hards as well. And previous race results, we don't get to see. But that all being said, I'm going to get through practice, and I shall see you in qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. This is it then, ladies and gentlemen, final laps in Q3, and as you can see, Lando Norris at this moment in time is not having the best lap in his life. It must be said, Charles Leclerc was only 0.04 of a second off Charles Leclerc on a scrub set of soft compound tyres on his first run, but Lando Norris, unless he has a belting final sector, doesn't look like it's going to be enough for pole position. It isn't at the moment. It's only good enough for P2, but Pierre Gasly, on the other hand, is green through the first and second sectors. It must be said, Yuki Tsunoda in the Aston Martin in P4, the performer of the day in qualifying, but Pierre Gasly crosses the line and goes P4. Fantastic work from Pierre Gasly. Is anybody going to manage to overtake him? They are not. So for tomorrow's sprint, it will be Charles Leclerc on sprint pole position, Lando Norris in P2, Verstappen in P3, and Gasly in P4. Right then, guys, nothing fancy for the sprint. The soft compound tyres the way to go. We've got the soft compound tyres. Lando Norris has got 2 sets, and Pierre Gasly has got 2 sets as well. And we've got a decent scrub set as well. So both on soft compound tyres. P2, P4. Let's get to 5 red lights.
Our sprint today sees the drivers take on 17 laps of the Baku city circuit.
Expect to see plenty making the most of Baku's long, wide main straight. That's going to be their best chance to overtake and secure a strong result.
But just who comes out on top when the checkered flag flies? Now's the time for the sprint here in Baku. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and Lando Norris, will he be able to get Charles Leclerc into turn 1? It doesn't look like he will. He's going side by side with Verstappen. We normally have it on all aggressive, but we did it on this occasion. We tried something a little bit new, but Lando Norris straight away battling with Max Verstappen. Must be said, Pierre Gasly as well, fighting with Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda had a fantastic qualifying yesterday, it must be said, and he's certainly looking like he's showing some talent and some speed so far in this sprint race. On lap 1, he's really attacking Pierre Gasly. I must admit, Pierre Gasly must be thinking, if I can get in front of Tsunoda and put that Aston Martin, which I think is a lovely livery, by the way. Let me know what you think. We'll just have a little click on it here. That Honda Aston Martin, I really, really like. Gasly's now got back in front of Tsunoda. Hopefully he can put that Aston Martin between himself and Russell. Meanwhile, Lando Norris is battling with Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. And Lando Norris at the moment now just tagging onto the back of these two. We are just going to calm it down on the fuel. We're going to calm it down on the tyres. Don't see the need at this moment in time to be exceptionally pushing, especially with Lando Norris. And Pierre Gasly, on the other hand, might actually want a little bit more battery just to ensure that he keeps touch with the front three. But at this moment, as it comes to the end of lap 1 on the sprint, it's Leclerc leading from Verstappen, Norris in P3. Gasly needs to get back in DRS. And just what we didn't need to happen this weekend, Lando Norris has just gone and done this. Bearing in mind, he's keeping in the DRS just about of the front, so he's pushing, and then he locks up and goes wide. That puts him all the way down to the back of the grid. Lando Norris not happy at all. Pierre Gasly even less so, because now he's trying to keep George Russell at bay while trying to catch up to the front two, and this is looking a little bit ominous for Pierre Gasly. It must be said, Lando Norris all the way at the back. It's a recovery drive now from Lando. George Russell on lap 4, just getting past Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly having a look back at the Red Bull driver now. Pierre Gasly's our best hope today of beating the Red Bulls, and Pierre Gasly's managing to get back past George Russell. Round the outside goes Pierre Gasly. They are still side by side. We can see at the front as well, Verstappen and Leclerc still going at this moment. Lando Norris just been told to basically use this as another practice session now. He's 3 seconds behind the Hugo bosses of Raikkonen and Hülkenberg. He possibly could get back up towards P14, P13. A safety car would work very, very well indeed for Lando Norris, but Pierre Gasly and George Russell still going at it side by side as we come up towards the castle section, and it must be said Leclerc and Verstappen doing exactly the same as these two cars, the Andrettis, the Ferrari and the Red Bulls at this moment in time, looking very equally paced, and this is bringing Yuki Tsunoda back into the equation. We bring you back on lap 9. You can see Pierre Gasly still fighting with George Russell. We've managed to drop the Aston Martins by 2.5 seconds now of Yuki Tsunoda. Ocon and Tsunoda running in formation with Lewis Hamilton keeping a little looking behind. But Lando Norris is now on the back of the two Hugo Boss cars of Kimi Raikkonen and Nico Hülkenberg. These two are so slow. It's ridiculous at the moment. It's like they're driving F2 cars. But Lando Norris now trying to get past these Hugo Bosses and pull his way up to the rest of the pike. Gasly just sitting in behind Russell nicely. Lap 10, we bring you back. Lando Norris has managed to get past the two Hugo Bosses and now chasing after Daniel Ricciardo, his former teammate. Pierre Gasly's having a lovely time. He's just managed to get past George Russell with DRS. These two are just swapping positions all the time, as are the front two in Leclerc and Verstappen. But it's a spicy battle for tomorrow. We'll have a quick rundown. It's Verstappen from Leclerc, then Gasly and Russell, Tsunoda and Ocon P5 and P6, Hamilton in P7 in the Ferrari, then comes Piastri in P8 battling with Bottas in P9 and Théo Pourchaire in P10. Must be said, Checo Perez being particularly quiet today, normally very good round here, only in P12 at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 laps to go. Pierre Gasly has pulled he's dropped George Russell by 2.5 seconds and pulled himself up to Leclerc and Verstappen. Pierre Gasly is now fighting for the win of this sprint race. We are on lap 16. This is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, and you've got to fancy Pierre Gasly here. He's in a lovely position to strike, especially if this Ferrari does not get in the DRS of Verstappen. Pierre Gasly could have a run on Verstappen on the final lap. Let's have a look on board with Pierre Gasly chasing after this Ferrari. He's been so impressive today. Lando Norris has passed Ricciardo as well, trying to now get up to Zhou Guanyu. He should manage to get that position, should Lando Norris. Let's just have a quick check-in on him. You can see there, just behind the gorgeous Williams of Zhou Guanyu. But Pierre Gasly at this moment in time is in such a strong position here. Could he possibly win the sprint race? And here we go then, final lap of the sprint race, and as you can see, Leclerc and Verstappen are battling away, and Pierre Gasly just keeping an eye out on this. Could there possibly be an opportunity? Will they smash into each other? Who knows what could happen? Leclerc hasn't got DRS, and Verstappen has. Gasly's in behind as well. Verstappen going for the move. Will Pierre Gasly manage to get the move done as well? Pierre Gasly looks like he's going to have an attempt round the outside, nearly takes out the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. He's having a right old go at it here. Lando Norris, by the way, just while we're watching this battle, is now up into P16. That's as good as it's going to get for Lando Norris today. But Pierre Gasly right on the back of these two leaders. He's going to be starting a minimum of P3 tomorrow. Could he possibly get P2? He's going for a move around the outside of Leclerc, and this is why we love Pierre Gasly, because he does these magical things at times. He just manages to pull these overtakes off, and the beauty of that overtake there is that when he gets to run down to the line, Max Verstappen isn't going to have DRS. Charles Leclerc is going to have DRS, and so is Pierre Gasly, but Pierre Gasly has got re-overtaken by Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc looks a little bit quicker in the Ferrari at this moment in time, but what could Pierre Gasly do here is we tell him to give it the absolute beans down to the line. We are going to try a different camera angle. We're going to try this camera angle here for this last bit of this sprint race, and Pierre Gasly in that Andretti Cadillac, is he going to manage to get the top two, or is it going to be P3? And to be fair, P3 by 4.2 seconds is not a bad return at all for the Gasman in the Andretti Cadillac today. I doubt he's going to get better than P3, certainly isn't. And it's fair play to Max Verstappen, who's been sublime today. But Pierre Gasly, a worthy P3. Disappointment for Lando Norris, but let's get to the full classifieds. And so there we have it then, guys. Sprint results: Verstappen from Leclerc, Gasly in P3, Russell P4, Tsunoda and Ocon. Great showing for Aston Martin. Hamilton in P7, Piastri P8, then came Bottas and Pourchaire. Lando Norris all the way down in P16. Let's have a look at the strategy for Sunday. Right then, ladies and gents, two very different races to run here, but the same strategy for both. We reckon we can make the soft medium work. Does seem to be the optimal strategy. The two stops very difficult to pull off around here. Of course, we are expecting safety cars, so I've took a little bit of fuel out of the cars in anticipation that we may get a safety car or two. But of course, soft to medium, both cars. We'll be aware if we have to change to a two-stop, we'll adapt with a safety car, but that's the main strategy. Let's get to 5 red lights.
Final checks have been carried out on the grid, and it won't be long until we get underway. I suspect that we'll all be closely following Charles Leclerc in this one.
A second place start for them today. They'll be aiming for a podium, but could they even sneak the win?
But remember, anything can happen in Formula One. Here we go with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and we are going to keep an eye on Verstappen, Leclerc and Gasly in to turn 1. Pierre Gasly's going for the move round the outside of Charles Leclerc. The key to this today, of course, is to make sure that we stay in the DRS, we manage it effectively and manage the tyres well. Verstappen's on a scrub set of soft compound tyres, but Pierre Gasly's had a fantastic getaway, got Charles Leclerc off the line, and now is attacking Max Verstappen. That is superb work from Pierre Gasly. We are actually just going to calm it down a little bit on the ERS because I think that should do us for now. Lando Norris, on the other hand, is going to have to settle into this. He may have a very tough afternoon if he gets stuck in a DRS train, but Pierre Gasly in P2 at the moment, keeping a check on Charles Leclerc and sticking onto the back of Verstappen. Norris is looking at, let's have a look, is he having a looking at the Mercedes of Albon? Not just yet. Albon holding Norris up on the medium compounded tyre. And Pierre Gasly is wasting no time. Pierre Gasly is into the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Fantastic work from Pierre. He looks like he's got all the pace this weekend, it must be said. And now, is it possible to drop Max Verstappen with Pierre Gasly? It'll be very, very interesting to see if it is. But Pierre Gasly, it's only a 10th. DRS will be enabled next lap. Charles Leclerc in P3, Russell P4. Norris still not managing to make a move and make an impression early in this Grand Prix. Not being able to make an impression, he's starting to. Lando Norris, just as I came from that, managing to get past the Mercedes of Alexander Albon. Now up into P15. He's got to clear Mick Schumacher pretty quickly, and then he can chase after the next pack because there's a bit of a gap to the Williams in front of him. Lando Norris now in at P15. Leclerc's just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Gasly's still leading at this moment in time. We are burning his tyres up a little bit, but no more than anyone else. You join us back on lap 4 because Pierre Gasly is absolutely starting to run away with this. He has just broken the DRS of Max Verstappen. We are telling him to push and push and push to try and get away. Lando Norris in P14 stuck behind Liam Lawson now. But this is very interesting because we have dropped Max Verstappen with Pierre Gasly. What a performance so far from Pierre. And Verstappen's tyres are going to go off a lot quicker than Pierre's are. Lando Norris also making moves, getting past Liam Lawson. Lovely work from Lando. Past Liam Lawson, rear wing wide open, gets the job done. And what is more exciting than this, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment in time, as we cut back through the live action, you will notice on your left hand side, Pierre Gasly is now 2.2 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. We have dropped him like a stone, and Pierre Gasly is now running away with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Lando Norris is doing a Pierre Gasly drive today. He's managing to get past Checo Perez. You can see once again DRS wide open past the McLaren of Checo Perez. Beautiful work from Lando Norris. He's now got the next little gaggle of cars, a Mercedes and an Audi, to catch up to. Now he's got two German manufacturers there, but Lando Norris now is in this next gaggle of cars. Meanwhile, gap to Leclerc now, 3.3 seconds for Pierre Gasly. Lando Norris is just scything through the grid here. He's now past Valtteri Bottas. Lovely work into turn 1, outbrakes him, and now he's got another car in front of him. We're just going to check back because I think he's just got past the next Audi that he had in front of him. Let's have a look as we chop back to the live action. Lando Norris, if we go back to normal speeds, has now got Teo Porcher. He did get past Carlos Sainz, but Lando Norris now in at P10. He's into the points and he's got Porcher and Piastri in front of him. Gap to Leclerc. I cannot believe I'm saying this, ladies and gentlemen. On lap 8, 5-second gap to Leclerc for Pierre Gasly. Lando Norris is past Teo Pourchaire. Let's have a little look at this. A lovely move around the outside from Lando. The McLaren's blocking us in a little bit. Of course, his former teammate Oscar Piastri, and I don't think it's going to be too long before Lando Norris gets past him as well. Let's have a look. He might have already done it when we get back to the live action. Not just yet. He's just following Piastri at this moment in time. Is Lando Norris, as you can see, but it's not going to be long at all before he gets past. Pierre Gasly is enjoying himself that much. We've started conserving on the fuel because we are managing our tyres rather effectively. And this is working beautifully. 5.8 seconds gap to Leclerc. Lap 10, Lando Norris, we said it wasn't going to take long. It didn't take long at all. Lando Norris is now past Oscar Piastri's up into P9 now. Lovely work from Lando Norris. It might even be P8. Let's just check back. I'm pretty sure it's P8 actually. And Lando Norris now has got 2.6 seconds gap to Tsunoda to chase after. But we'll have a full rundown of the top 10. It's Gasly leading by 6.7 seconds to Charles Leclerc. Verstappen and Russell in P3 and 4. Esteban Ocon in P5 in the underpowered Aston Martin. Lewis Hamilton in P6 battling with Yuki Tsunoda. Norris in P8, Piastri P9, Sainz P10. And you wouldn't want to be driving a Hugo Boss, would you? Raikkonen and Hülkenberg down in 19th and 20th. Dear oh dear. There's an outside chance, ladies and gentlemen, that Lando Norris may get a podium today. He's just managed to get past Yuki Tsunoda. You can see a scarlet red Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton now is the next car for Lando Norris, but he's just driving supremely well. He had that little lock-up yesterday in the sprint race, which caused him so many problems. But Lando Norris now in P7, looking now to push on and catch up to Hamilton. Gasly gap to Verstappen, 6.7 seconds. Verstappen's tyres are nearly cooked. Lando Norris has now got Lewis Hamilton. My word, Lando Norris up into P6. You can see Esteban Ocon. We already know he can overtake an Aston Martin. Lando Norris is on absolute fire today, looking to right the wrongs of yesterday's sprint race. And as we cut back to the live action, Lando Norris now 1.3 seconds from Ocon. Verstappen's on a bit of a charge at this moment in time. We are just monitoring this effectively because Gasly now is just watching his tyres a bit. We've conserved the fuel, but Gasly's got to be wary because that gap is closing. Leclerc has gone for the overcut. We are undercut. We are going to just cut back to see what Lando Norris has just done to Esteban Ocon. But Charles Leclerc has pit, and it's lovely work from Lando Norris into turn 1. We were just eyeing up whether we wanted to make a pit stop and get Pierre Gasly out. Leclerc's going for the undercut. We may have to cover that off depending on where Charles Leclerc comes off. At this moment, 20 seconds from the leader would put us just in front of Carlos Sainz. I think it makes sense. Gasly is in at this lap. And in is coming Pierre Gasly. We had to cover off Charles Leclerc. He's been our main competitor today. I reckon we should get out in front of Carlos Sainz, and Hamilton and Tsunoda hopefully will pit by the time Pierre gets back up to him. Lando Norris is now right on the back of Esteban Ocon. There's a little DRS train. Verstappen's in this lap as well. If Pierre Gasly ever needed a good pit stop, this is it. And that's a lovely time to cut to it. Please get a good stop, guys. 3.2 seconds, it's not the worst. Verstappen's in. Is Verstappen getting a good stop? He certainly is. Gasly now is coming out. Let's have a look. You can see there. Is that Charlotte? No, that's Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, are we going to get out in front of him? Not quite, but we are comfortably in front of Piastri, and that will work for us. Pierre Gasly out behind Lewis Hamilton, and he can start now making these new tyres work, and we've covered off Leclerc and Verstappen. Verstappen all the way back behind Charles Leclerc. Pierre Gasly, very important overtake. We've not managed to negotiate Hamilton and Tsunoda as quickly as we'd like, but we are now starting to get past him. He's got Yuki Tsunoda, and hopefully now we will manage to get past Lewis Hamilton. You can see Hamilton's teammate Charles Leclerc behind, but now Pierre Gasly is doing everything he can. He should manage to get past Lewis Hamilton rather quickly, and then we can run off into the sunset once again. Russell, he's not coming yet, but Lando Norris will be in this lap. Pierre Gasly has got Lewis Hamilton just in the nick of time. He managed to get him round the outside in a very unorthodox position, but Pierre Gasly, lovely work. Gets past Lewis Hamilton, and you can see behind Charles Leclerc getting a little bit of traffic as well. That's going to work okay as long as Pierre Gasly manages to stay in front of Hamilton down the straight, but we are keeping all eyes on Lando Norris because Lando Norris is coming in to the pits. Pierre Gasly now been pushing on the fuel a little bit, but hopefully now can keep Lewis Hamilton behind because we don't want Charles Leclerc getting up to the back of him. It's not worked very well, this pit stop for Pierre Gasly, but let's hope this is a decent one for Lando Norris. It's not a decent one. It's 4-5 seconds. We are still not quite getting this right at the moment. But Pierre Gasly now is in front of Hamilton. Lando Norris, let's have a look where he's coming out. He's coming out behind Esteban Ocon, and it's not a good stop from the guys. Once again, we are putting a lot of work into these pit stops at the moment, but it's not quite working for us. But Pierre Gasly now, time to run away. Lando Norris is having it to do it the hard way once again, but he's just managed to get past Théo Pourchaire, and it's a lovely move down the inside. He's that good, Lando Norris. He can make his car go a little bit invisible when he needs to. But Lando Norris now up into, I believe, that is P6. Let's just have a check back. We're going to have a full rundown now. P7 it is. Russell is just come out just in front of Lando Norris, but here we are then. Gasly in P1, 2.6 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. Then comes Yuki Tsunoda in P3. We've got, Verstappen now in P3, who's just got past Tsunoda. Tsunoda is yet to pit. Perez in P5, Russell P6, then comes Lando Norris in P7, Ocon in P8, then Bottas and Lawson. But it must be said, Pierre Gasly, this is looking very, very decent indeed. We have a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car on track. It's come at quite a nice time for us, to be fair, because Charles Leclerc was closing down Pierre Gasly at a rate of knots, and it's Charles Leclerc's teammate Lewis Hamilton who has caused the virtual safety car. Let's have a look at this. Into turn one, just loses it, smashes into the barrier. Fortunately, doesn't end up back on the strike, but Lewis Hamilton is now, I would presume, out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Gasly and Norris now can conserve the fuel, conserve the tyres, and also get that ERS back in check, and that should benefit us when we get back to green flag running, which we will come back for. We are back to green flag running on lap 29, and Pierre Gasly really now has got to try and run away. We could do with Leclerc and Verstappen getting caught up with each other a little bit and starting to fight, but Pierre Gasly resuming in P1, trying to run away from a Ferrari and a Red Bull. Lando Norris now 3 seconds behind George Russell. Very interesting indeed. Norris not managing to stick with George Russell. Ocon is fighting with fighting with Lando once again, but Leclerc is closing all the time. Lap 30, Charles Leclerc's little attack seems to have faded away. Leclerc now has dropped back 3.3 seconds. That's beautiful for us because we can just top up a little bit of ERS, and we're hoping that these two start fighting with each other. Lando Norris now is back in the DRS of George Russell. Lap 31, both Andretti's very much in this for a podium. And just a quick one, Lando Norris, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and he's overtaken George Russell. My word, Lando. Let's have a look at this. DRS wide open, up into P4. Beautiful work. Got the job done practically before the braking zone. George Russell just tucked in behind, and now we have got two cars in the top four and one leading the race. Lando Norris and George Russell going at it once again. Lando Norris managing to get up into P4. This is very, very important, by the way, for the Constructors' Championship, as well as the Drivers' Championship as well. Lando Norris has had a superb drive today, but now back up into P4. But the one bit of management that I'm having to seriously do at the moment is monitor this gap between Leclerc and Gasly. We're having moments where we're pushing, moments where we're not so pushing. It must be said, we're burning our tyres up a lot worse than Leclerc and Verstappen, and we've had to at times, but at the moment we are just about managing the gap. Lap 38, we'll have a full rundown. It's Gasly from Leclerc, Verstappen in P3, Norris in P4, Russell P5, who's about to be P4 once again. We'll keep his eye on this before we continue the rundown, and George Russell into turn one gets the job done. Ocon in P6, Perez P7, then comes Tsunoda, Sainz in P9, and Piastri P10. Lap 40, and it's got to be said, it's been coming. Charles Leclerc is now back in the DRS of Pierre Gasly, and we've got to play this smart now, because us and Leclerc have got the worst tyres. We're comfortably in front of Verstappen, but it's important that we manage our ERS effectively. It looks like, to be fair, we may be coming up to a little bit of traffic as well, so something to be aware of. That might have an impact, but Pierre Gasly now has just got to play this smart. We've still got a little bit of fuel to save, and we can probably charge up his ERS a little bit, but these bike markers might help us. And for the first time in a long time, Pierre Gasly is not leading the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc's got him. And I've got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed. We've seen this already so far this season. Pierre Gasly seems to have immense pace and then seems to falter a little bit. Maybe it's consistency, but it looks like Charles Leclerc is actually going to get the benefit of these bike markers at the minute. We're already starting to drop out of DRS range of Charles Leclerc. It's not ideal at all, and if we get held up behind a Hugo Boss, that would be even worse. And Pierre Gasly, I think, has just lost DRS, and that could be crucial. We join you back, ladies and gents. Lap 48, Lando Norris has got past George Russell for the final time and then absolutely dropped him. He's doing fantastically well, Lando. We're actually going to have a little push to see if we can catch Max Verstappen, but it's all on this battle at the front. Pierre Gasly has been driving like, well, something out of nothing, really, to try and keep in DRS of Charles Leclerc. It's been so tough for him, but at the moment, we are still in striking range, and as you can see, we're trying to top up a little bit of ERS. We are trying to do absolutely everything to allow us to stick with this Ferrari so we can try and get him on the final lap of the Grand Prix. It's going to be close, 3 to go. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Final lap of the Grand Prix, and it is Charles Leclerc versus Pierre Gasly for the win here in Baku. We are going to tell Pierre Gasly to be exceptionally aggressive with the overtakes. He's got everything riding on this now. Can he possibly get past this scarlet red Ferrari and make it count? He dives to the inside, Pierre Gasly, and he's passed the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc on this final lap. My word, it's about to get very interesting indeed now. We are going to give him the battle assist. Can Pierre Gasly manage to keep Charles Leclerc behind him? It's going to be so close. Max Verstappen is going to be under incredible pressure from Lando Norris as well on this final lap, but it's all on Pierre Gasly. His tyres are practically done. Charles Leclerc's tyres are in far better shape than the Gasman's, but at the moment he's actually pushing away a little bit here. We're going to keep deploying on the ERS to see if we can possibly get Leclerc out of DRS range before this final run down to the line. Maybe Leclerc has given it everything he had, but Pierre Gasly, when it mattered here in Azerbaijan, has decided to put the foot down and really start to motor away. And as we come towards the end of this lap, Charles Leclerc is dropped out of DRS range. Lando Norris, on the other hand, is all over the back of Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly is going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Is Lando Norris going to manage to get Max Verstappen on the run down to the line? So much going on here, ladies and gentlemen, but Pierre Gasly, as he starts trotting towards the line, he's raced beautifully today. He's had a bit of adversity, but Pierre Gasly is going to cross the line as a race winner this season. Lando Norris all over the back of Max Verstappen, possibly isn't going to get him, but Pierre Gasly is going to win in Baku. Brilliant in Baku for Pierre Gasly. Lando Norris all over the back of Verstappen, can't quite get him, but Gasly wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Fantastic race.
What a masterclass drive from Pierre Gasly today.
It was a truly excellent win, with everything working together for the team and driver.
But just look at this. The overwhelming excitement for those celebrating this achievement. The Frenchman was in sublime form today, fully deserving of his podium finish here.
Their first win of the season, and the team looking on will be very proud, I'm sure.
What a race for Pierre Gasly. I cannot express how good that was. It's got to be said, Lando Norris as driver of the day, it must be said. 12 places gained, but it was Gasly, as we saw from Leclerc, Verstappen in P3, Norris in P4, Russell P5, Ocon in P6, Perez gaining 5 positions, to P7, did well in the end. Tsunoda in P8, Sainz P9, and Piastri P10. Just the one DNF, and that was Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen is back top of the driver standings from Lando Norris. He's now 8 points clear of Lando. Pierre Gasly gaining 31 points on the weekend. Lovely work from him. Constructor standings wise, we are top and we extend our lead now to 6 points over Red Bull. Ferrari jumping to P3 over the top of McLaren, but it's 3 race wins for Andretti Cadillac. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do like and subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one. Ta-ra!